I'm recording this, by the way, because I forgot to start it. I'm not
Tommy,
recording.
Tommy, I have to jump off. A client's calling me, but I'll try to jump back on. But okay. You're recording this, so it will be on Facebook?
Yeah, I didn't record the stuff before it, but I'm recording everything forward.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'll try to come right back.
Okay.
That's all right.
So as to reiterate what Tom was saying, if you create the form and you send it to a candidate and they fill it out, it will populate your sheet. Is that correct? Like inside your the card, right?
Correct, as long as you have a map to the correct fields.
Does everybody understand what he's saying? Yeah, so when you go into forms and create a form, and if you look at forms, here, settings. So here it is. So it's record field, right?
Right, correct.
So when you click on record field, then what do you do from there? Choose record, right? Title,
you
company.
Select, whatever field you want to populate.
Okay. And since I made nickname and immigration status, that will now populate.
Correct.
Correct?
If they fill it out, or you fill it out, if you're talking to a candidate on the phone, you can do it. Well, I like to use the forms and send it to them and have them complete it.
Yeah, no, that is like when I was talking about this before, I did this search and I would send a form to the candidate because it had 5 questions that my client wanted me to ask the candidate that made it so they were qualified, and had them fill all that out. I didn't know the mapping existed at that time. So I was making this form now that I know the mapping existed. That's fantastic because it'll create the candidate for you. Now, how does Loxo know to associate that form to that candidate? Do you have to send it from that candidate's email?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll send an email that has the candidate data form as a link inside the email. I have a template already made up. And for example, if somebody applies to a job that comes in through, I use a third-party job portal, jobs called Dice. It's used for IT and engineering. So I post jobs to Dice. If somebody applies to my Dice job, it comes into an email into my Outlook account. It doesn't go into Loxo. So what I'll do from there is I'll take them. If I like what I see, I'll dump them into the applied stage for a job. And then from there, I have it set up for within 5 minutes to send a job application email saying, hey, thanks for applying for a job. We'll review your resume. By the way, if you have, take a minute to complete this short application form. And it's just asking for nickname, current location, salary expectations, immigration status, and availability.
And
if they fill it out,
it comes in a Loxo link. That's right. So it's actually Loxo. It's a Loxo link that pops. That's why it populates it. I forgot about that. Okay, that makes sense.
So I use it that way, or I'll use the candidate data form. Like I said, I got the 2 different ones. Because in IT, gosh, probably a good 75% of the candidates are H-1Bs. So, you know, and I don't have anybody to sponsorship. So having that information is very helpful to me and to my company.
And real quick, I hate to do this, guys, but since we have a new people added and I forgot to turn recording on, I want to show really quick how to do the view resumes within a job, right? So you go into the job. Let's see here, right? There's just here, and then here's your workflow. So ideally, you're going to click on the short list, right? Because you want to see those resumes first. I'm sorry. And you click on Samantha, and you look at her resume here, right? And then how do you look at the other people? Well, then you're going to collapse sourced. So here's shortlist. Now, when I click on Matt Ford, his resume is there. When I click on, well, I didn't do that one, her. Robin Bruce. So you can quickly look through these 15 candidates, right, in your workflow and look at their resumes without actually having to open them. You can just real quick look through them and then decide from here how you're going to do it. And you can do this for any of the workflow areas. So you would just collapse shortlist, collapse outbound, collapse screening, collapse submitted to, submit client interviewing. And then if you need, you can make this a little smaller by doing this. right? That's about as small as you're going to get. So if you need any of the other ones past this, you're in trouble. Sorry, I can't help you. Actually, no, maybe I can. If I make my screen bigger, let me see. If I make my screen bigger, oh, there we go. Yeah, so I can look at offer pending. I can look at rejected, right? I can see real quick who I rejected, right? And why I rejected them. And then that's it. So, you can look through any of your workflows that easily by just clicking on that and clicking on that, and then boom, every resume is there. So that was the original one that I didn't know everybody didn't know about, and why I actually did this meeting.
Tom, there's also one thing I wanted to add. While you're doing that, and if you're rejecting people or you're moving them forward or something, the add a highlight is pretty powerful.
Where's that?
See that underneath in their box? You see add a highlight?
Oh, right here?
Yeah. So say you decided to reject that person, but you may write overqualified or whatever reason, doesn't want to or whatever. So when they're rejected,
let's pretend I'm rejector. Let's say pretend I'm a rejector. So,
but if you but do it right there and then rejector, because you're thinking, you look it over, you say, has a lousy work history or whatever.
Yeah. So here I might say she's underqualified, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But then I can write in highlight, underqualified, making too much money, and lives 7 miles away.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is because your next job with that client may cause you to go to the same job title, or you may find somebody that is, you're looking for a sales rep in structural for another company, and you can quickly go through that job and see if you have anybody that maybe didn't fit that job but will fit the other, and you don't have to go through each one individually.
But you have a little highlight.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. No, that's a really good idea.
And also it tells me, it's also a way that if you have junior people working for you, you're teaching them what you're looking at and why you rejected them. Because some people in my organization said, hey, could you write what you're thinking? Because then I can look at that and say, okay, that's why you rejected them. That's why. And
okay, yeah, no, that makes it very good. It's
a training piece.
So we went over the resume. Go ahead.
I could real quick. The Loxo candidate cards, or whatever you want to call them. If you look at your short list under Samantha, if you notice the icons underneath, if you don't see the little telephone icon, it means there's no phone number associated with that record. If there's no LinkedIn thing, there's no LinkedIn. If there's no envelope, it means there's no email address associated with that record. So if you're in there, you can click on
like right here,
contact info right there, and that will bring you to Loxo Connect, and it will try to find the contact information and it'll populate it.
Apparently, Leslie Bravo does not have a phone number or an email.
Well, that's why you got Sales QL.
Exactly. And you also can decide what you want to be seen here. Does everybody know that? Is that something that people want to see? Anybody here? Is that something we need to look at? Yes, no? Okay, yeah, because that's the cool thing about Loxo, that maybe everybody, it's highly customizable, way more than I ever imagined. Like, look at my workflow, right? I don't know, Tom is like me. I changed, if you look at the standard workflow Loxo, I think it says long list. I changed it to sourced, short list, outbound, screening, submitted to client interviewing, offer pending. I created that one, right? So you can create whatever workflow you want. I've seen people with like 12 workflows, like emailed the candidate, sent a SMS message, called the candidate. Like, you can do whatever you want within here. Back in the old Loxo days, it was just like contacted, and then it gave you a drop down of what you did to contact them. So things changed a lot as Loxo keeps evolving. So in this workflow, you can go into settings, and I don't know exactly where it is. Tom, if you want to tell me before I do it, is it
workflow setup?
Yeah, workflow setup. Right. Yeah. So here, and then does everybody know what the triggers are? Everyone? So triggers. Okay, Loxo created triggers. So let's look at outbound. So if you have a candidate in shortlist, okay, and you send them an SMS or leave a voicemail or call them or send them a LinkedIn connection or receive an SMS from them or send them an email, then they'll automatically leave shortlist and go into outbound. That means outbound in the way that we have it set up means that someone has tried to contact them. So anytime if someone calls someone from Loxo or someone emails from Loxo or SMNs from Loxo, they go from shortlist to outbound, right? So that's the trigger there. In screening, if we fill out a form on the person or we leave an interview note, then they'll move from outbound into screening, right? So if Sage is on the phone and she calls a candidate off a shortlist, it moves it to outbound. If he answers and they start talking and she clicks on the candidate data sheet form and fills it out, then they'll move from outbound into screening, right? And then submitted to client.
Thomas, are those default triggers, or do you have to?
These are most of these, I believe, are default triggers. Right. Okay. So yeah, see where it says built in? These are ones that Loxo made, right?
Yeah.
So for example, if you're in Loxo source and you click maybe, it goes into long list, right? If someone applies to a job that you have out there, they go into long list. Short list, if you mark them yes in Loxo source, then they go into short list. Those are triggers that Loxo made. And if you come to the manage trigger section, you can see all the different triggers. Like I made this one, client interviewing, right? I made this one, left voicemail. So there's all these built-in triggers.
Could you press the 3 dots on the side to the right?
Edit trigger or delete trigger. You can't delete built-ins. And you can add a trigger here, right? And you can decide what the name is and move the candidate to a stage when that happens, right? So if you want to say the trigger is, I don't know, fill out for, right into highlight maybe, right? So trigger name, nah, it doesn't work that way. Never mind. Sorry. The triggers to get them to automatically work, I think only the built-ins are the ones that actually automatically work, right? So like indicates user made an outgoing call. So if you call someone, it goes from shortlist to outbound. It shows you like here, email sent, right? So what happens when an email is sent? It moves them to outbound. What happens when they fill out a form? They're moved to screening. What happens when they're hired? They move to hired. What happens when they call? They move to outbound. What happens when you leave an interview note on the candidate card? They get moved to screening. And also, like this one doesn't, this one's not automatic. If they leave a voicemail, it doesn't automatically outbound. It's incumbent upon me or my team to move them to outbound.
And that has to be done within Loxo, the call, right? I mean, you can't go to your mobile.
Yes.
And
no. Yeah. Everything, it has to be, that's, within the Loxo architecture, I guess is the term we're using. So yeah, so that's the workflow triggers. And those are all customizable. And like I said, Tom, what is your workflow setup?
We probably have about 12 workflow stages. We're a small firm. We're a small firm. There's 10 of us. I've got 4 recruiters myself, and then 2 biz dev account managers, and then the admin and our president. But we have sourced, then we have applied, and that's anybody that applies for one of our jobs. They go automatically into that applied stage, and that's where they get that trigger set up where they'll get an email, automatic email within 5 minutes. Thanks for applying. We'll read your resume, yada, yada. Here's our candidate data form. Please complete it. The next stage we have is called in progress. And that means if we sent them an email, if we sent them a text, anything that's outgoing through Loxo.
That's my outbound.
Left message, right. You have it as outbound. The next workflow stage we have is called engaged. And that means we've either spoken to them, we received an email, or we received a text message, we received an email, or we had a video call with them or a phone call with them. That goes into engaged. And by the way, within Loxo, if it's in that, like we call it the engaged stage, meaning we had a reciprocating conversation with the person, that changes the last contact date in the person's record in Loxo. Okay. If it's
Okay.
outgoing messages only, those show up in last activity date in Loxo in the people grid. All right. After engaged, we do an internal submittal. Our recruiters do to our account managers. And then the next one is resume sent. That's where it's going to the client. Then the next one we have is interview. Next one we have is rejected. And then we have a separate one for rejected by client, because we want to know by looking at a person's record, if they were rejected, we put the rejected reasons. Was it rejected by the candidate, by our account manager, by the recruiter? And then we have a separate workflow for rejected by client, because we want to be able to see that, because again, it's a multi-user database. We want to know why they were rejected by the client. Then we have offer extended. Then we have declined offer, hired, and then post-hire follow-up.
Tom, could you go
Yes.
back? You said when they were engaged, and there was another category, but there were dates associated with them. Could you?
Yeah, well, in Loxo, when you send anything out, an email, a text message, whatever, through Loxo, that creates an activity in the person's record. And then if you're in the people grid, you'll see a date for that activity. If you don't see a date under last contact, that means there's been no reciprocating conversation or communication with that person. You haven't received an email in Loxo. You haven't received a text message. You haven't did a video call with them, or however you've set up. So engage for us is we've had a conversation with them of some, and by doing that, it changes the last contact date in that person's record, and it shows up as last contacted.
And the
I
other,
don't know if that answered your question. Did I confuse you?
but no, that one, when it's engaged, it's the last contact. When it's the
That
other
means,
one,
yeah,
and
correct.
when it's the other one, what is it to? What is the category?
The other one is just an activity. It could be, and we sent them an email.
Okay.
We sent them a
But
text message.
there's not a date that goes into it that's triggered.
Sure, there is. Oh no,
Okay.
we don't have that. No, we don't have that set up as a trigger per se. We have it set up as an automation to move them from this to that. This is
Okay.
before we had Loxo set this up about 4 years ago, before triggers even became available.
Okay. Now another question. This one's to Tom. As you do the
Which Tom? Tom or Tommy?
Palermo.
Okay.
As you just did the sourcing and what have you, that list right there. Could you do it using the list as well? Because that's a different way of doing it. You know, when you go up to list.
Where list? What do you mean list? I'm sorry.
List on the side when you have. Let me get back to it. I grab this call, but list. You have a list of people. But
I think he's referring to the list view in the job.
Oh, here. Oh, sorry. No, here. Sorry, here. Let me go to jobs. Let me go to.
And then go to
here, and then go to list
and then
view.
go to list view, right? I think that's
so
what he's referring to there.
So yeah, what was he? So what he wants to know? What from here can I do?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So if I call her right now, or send her an email right now, she will move from sourced to outbound.
Right.
Right. If I which was like here, Prince Dwally, if I send him an email, he's no longer at AutoZone, so I can send this email to him. So if we send this email, right, and hit send, he should move
Into outbound.
There you go. So yeah, so it doesn't matter where whether you're in list view or whatever view, as long as you do that, he will move. That trigger will work. If that's what Ernie was wondering.
Let me ask
I'm not sure.
my questions. When you make a phone call, Tom Byrne, you said that it will if you do it through Loxo, I'm just using my headset, of course, but on my landline phone. Are you saying that if I make a phone call, don't I have to physically say that the phone call has been made for it to transfer to something else?
No, if you're doing Loxo's call, I don't know what they call it, caller or Loxo's
Yeah, power
phone
calling. So
system.
if I call
Power
right here,
calling, yeah.
if I call this number, let's see if it does it. Like, so I'm calling her right now. It's ringing. It's ringing. I think you have to let it go a certain amount of time for it to actually convert, right? And let me see if it worked. So Hannah Hamrick was insourced. We're going to close out. And we're going to people, back to jobs, and sales rep structural, outbound, and there's Hannah.
Okay, well,
Right.
I'm physically dialing, so I got to start making. I got to do the power call.
Oh yeah,
you
no,
paid for the power
then you're
call,
gonna
you
have
might
to.
as well.
Yeah, I do everything, and I have my recruiters and everybody do everything through Loxo. This way, it creates that activity. If they call in, their name will pop up. I can see that they're calling me. I can click right through. I can enter my notes while I'm on there. I can do everything directly through there. And I don't have to manually create an activity or an event for each person. If you're using a landline or your cell phone, your personal cell phone, I should say.
Guys, quick question here. I'm new here, so just in the forum yesterday, but just getting used to some of this. Some really interesting things. But could you just take me through that workflow for triggering again, Thomas or Tommy?
Mm-hmm, of course. Yeah. Let me move this over here. Can you still see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So there's your workflow.
So where do you get to that? Because I was struggling.
I'm sorry. Here's your stages, right? So you decide to create your, if you're not using the,
can you go back
you're not
before
using,
that? So go back to the settings dashboard, how you got to there.
oh,
mine,
yeah, sure.
Mine
Absolutely.
looks different to yours. I'm not seeing the triggers within that.
Do you see this?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to come down to workflow setup right here.
Okay.
And then it's going to show the workflow setup and your job stages. So if you're using OG Loxo, right, you should have long list, short list. I don't remember all of them. Rejected and hired, I know, are theirs. I don't know which ones I made compared to theirs, but you have a workflow like this, right? What is your workflow set?
Yeah, but mine doesn't look like that. So I don't have the same options you do. So I wonder if we're working off different versions. So if you come back one more.
Hold on a second. Do you know how to share a screen? Share your screen with us. Hold on. I'm going to stop sharing. Let's see your screen.
Yeah, you probably have the default ones, Richard, right now that Loxo gives you, and you can edit them, change it to whatever title you want. And then, like Tom was saying, you could create your own custom workflow stages.
And Ernie, to answer your question, yes, that works. All the triggers work in any list view, in workflow view. It doesn't matter.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
The square with the arrow in the bottom.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, try now.
There we go.
Okay. So if we go within customized workflow, or
yeah, click on that. Click on customize workflow.
Yep.
Oh wow, he's got super old. This is the original.
So this needs to be updated. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Scroll back up.
Are you in the paid version? Are you in the paid version?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you an employee, or do you own? Are you an admin? You're an admin. Yeah. Wait. Okay. I was going to look at that for you. That is customizable too. It's just customizably different. Hey, Tom, didn't we get an email for some of us to be updated to the new settings folder? Is that what it was?
Could be. I don't remember.
So
yeah,
what you want to ask?
Those triggers, the idea of those triggers moving through the flow, like especially when you've called someone. So when you've got a bunch of people sourced, you go through that list and they start moving across automatically. I like that feature.
I've got the same
Yeah,
one
so-
that Richard Carter has. So yeah, I mean, I want what you guys have.
Wow, you,
Let me look at something because that might be for some of
What-
us.
did you buy a different did you buy the pro version of Loxo? Professional version?
You've got a tip top, whatever you want to call it version. So yeah, absolutely.
And you should have the same views as us. That's very strange. You'll probably want to go into your,
Guys, time out. Longtime customers of Loxo will be upgraded to the latest workflow setup for job stages and triggers. So it's a beta. So like Tom and I have had Loxo for almost 8 years. I think that's why we were invited. So that might be the issue. You could ask them if you can be, this is what you hear. Longtime customers of Loxo will be upgraded to the latest workflow setup for job stages and triggers. Ask them if you can be updated to the workflow that has job stages and triggers.
Oh, I will. Thank you.
Update my workflow. Go to your settings, workflow setup, customize right corner. No, I'm trying to see if you can get upgraded to the workflow.
Well, I
guess
wonder if we
not.
can be on the beta. Is there, because there's so many of these things are,
It's not a beta. That's what made me think about that for a second. They released this to certain people, right? So they released it to a long-time users who have been using it for a while that are well-versed in it. That's why I think Tom and I have it. Ernie, do you have it? Yeah, Ernie's had it a long time. You're on mute, Ernie. Ernie's had it a long time. Tom, how long have you had it, Steve?
I have been on Loxo now officially 3 years.
You're on mute, Ernie. You're talking away. You're on mute unless you're talking to somebody on the phone and don't want us to hear you. I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
3 years.
3 years. And Richard?
Just over a year.
Okay. Now you guys might want to just reach out to the Loxo thingy on the right-hand side and say, hey, can I be upgraded to the workflow setup that has the triggers? And they may do that for you. I'm sorry. I just thought, hey, there's another one. I thought everybody knew that, right? So Steve, you don't even have triggers, do you?
No.
Yeah. So sorry about that one. Wow. I feel bad now. I wanted to kind of I don't know, Tom, what do you think about, does everybody know how calendar settings works? Does everybody know how email settings works and how you sync your email, right? How the phone setting works where you can receive calls within Loxo if you want. You can have a voicemail within Loxo if you want. You can set a reply greeting if you want. That's your, old picture of me. There's the forms we were talking about that Tom was talking about, how you can make the forms, right? So we have all these forms. I have forms that I put into campaigns, right? So I have this one. It's tell me more, and ask them to fill this out when I send them the campaign, right? This one.
yeah, John, we can't see your screen if you're
Yeah, we're
trying
not
to
seeing
share.
anything,
Oh,
Tommy.
I'm sorry. I totally forgot. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But I was visualizing. I was imagining.
Okay, so I'll go back to
Okay. Good.
everybody knows, here's the forms, right? Everybody knows email settings, right? Everybody how to sync. You can have more than one email if you want. Your phone settings, you can receive calls from Loxo. I don't do that. Voicemail greeting, if you do that. And then you can have an out of office reply for SMSs if you want, or just, however you want to do that. My profile, and then forms. This is what Tom and I were talking about. These are your forms that you can create, and you can use the forms for so many different things. I have a basic sales rep interview form for my recruiters to just ask questions. Will you travel overnight? Will you relocate? Can you work without sponsorship? Yada, 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 right? And then I have this one, here, when I do a campaign, on my third email, go £. You really never want to hear from us again, right? If no, when do you want to hear from us, right? I have that one. I have one that's called not this, maybe other opportunities in the future, right? I send someone the third campaign email they get, hey, I get it, but maybe you're interested in other opportunities. When should we call you? How often, right? And that works. Actually, they like that. I got a lot of those in my campaigns telling me, yeah, let me know every 6 months about structural engineering opportunities. And you can create these to put in emails, you can put them in text, SMS messages, and you can use them within the workflow. So, you know, it's a little hard to get used to, but once your recruiters know it, they're just sitting here typing away, name, location, mobile number. And what Tom has showed me is it'll populate the card, right? So you take SalesQL, you pull a bunch of people in, you start dialing for dollars in your workflow, right? And then you call, I call Hamrick, I get him on the phone, and then he says, yeah, I'm interested. And then we go over here, we fill out the form. If it's one of the forms that maps to the workflow, then it's going to put in his compensation. It's going to put in his salary expectations, his nickname, his immigration status. It's going to put all that in, or anything else that you added in that form that maps to the card. It's going to put in his phone number, his email, his personal email, all that stuff.
So now, are you guys using that form just to make sure if you're not sending it out? I'm saying, are you using that form a lot of times simply to be very consistent on the questions that you ask and make sure you cover everything?
New recruiters too.
Okay.
So they know what to ask on a search they may have never worked on before, right? So Sage is working on some sales positions that she hadn't worked on prior. So these are the things that are important. I need to know, are they willing to travel? Who do they sell to? What software programs do they use, right? Like, don't forget to ask these questions. It's as simple as that. And then it populates in the card. And does everybody know about the branded resume you can do within Loxo? Hands up, right? Okay, so your candidate doesn't have a resume. I used to send out to guys like Alan what I would call my candidate data sheet, right? And back in the day before this, we used to hand fill them out. And we didn't have a resume, we'd hand out a candidate data sheet. Then I started downloading LinkedIn PDFs and calling them my candidate data sheets, right? So, and that's what she's got a resume. Hold on. So Prince has got, that's what it looks like when you download a LinkedIn profile. We all know that, right? Yep. Well, if you have that LinkedIn profile and you have stuff in here, you can make a branded resume, okay? And you can have the agency name. I don't do that. I do the logo, and then boom, right? There it is. You can send this to a client, right? And if you, in your assessment area, if you put in a bunch of information, like if we go to the assessment area on this candidate, let me pull something off of his assessment. Nothing. But like, if you do the, come on. What the hell? So you do the branded resume, and then assessments, education, job profiles, emails, bio. That's what I was thinking of. Bio, right? So in the wherever the bio section is, which is down.
Well, it's called intake now. They didn't change it.
Yeah, see if that works.
Tommy, what's the pricing on this thing?
Give or take $200 a month, depending on what you get and how many seats you have and who you talk to and whose kid you threaten to kill.
No, it was just I talked to the founder when it first started, and he gave me access to it. And I got to tell you, it was just I mean, it looks good, and I keep hearing good things about it. They've really improved, but I tried it 3 different times, and it was like, this thing ain't worth a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So I'm glad they improved it.
Yeah, and now I feel stupid because I can't get that to work, Tom. So I did that, and it puts in the summary there, but
there you go.
Assessments I can't seem to get in there, right? So anyway, if you have, see it, Miguel, if you have all the relevant information about the candidate here that you want to explain to your client, right? Like, so I can take a, like this here, like here, I'll just pull this from it real quick. So now you can send this to your client, right? You got the summary about the candidate, right? They're a practice manager, radiology at Robert Wood Johnson. They've been there for 5 years. They, were at Home Depot for that long, whatever. There's their education, right? So that now you can send that to the client, and you can also, like, if you want to get rid of the picture, so you don't want to show open to work, you get rid of avatar. I get rid of agency name. and you can, anything that you have, if you have a phone number, if you have an email, you can get rid of job profiles, education profiles, whatever you want, right? And then open the profile, and all this stuff is there for your client, and it looks like a branded resume of your candidate.
Tommy, can we also do that with a good resume they sent us to have our logo on top to send to candidate?
Yeah, so you can take all of this, like, okay, let's go Hannah. Hannah sent me a resume, right? So
Yeah.
so she's already got stuff in intake. But I could take this. Actually, let me see what they do with her branded resume. Let's see what it looks like. Right? So her branded resume has her summary and just that. So you could take this resume, right? And then do this, right? Copy and paste it into here. And then get rid of, and I'll show you, let me show you what I mean, right? So I got a new Apple trackpad, so you're gonna have to bear with me here, right? So I do this, I hit copy, I hit paste, right? I hit profile, branded resume. Now I'm gonna get rid of the job profiles and the education profiles because it's already gonna be on there, right? So there's your resume. It's not as slick as what her resume looks like, but
Yeah,
there you go.
Look for a way to put my logo on top of a resume if I'm just going to send out a resume.
Yeah, I mean, you could do this, and that's her resume. I just don't think it looks as slick as a regular. You could just say, this is our branded resume, this is our data sheet or whatever.
Yeah.
That way.
Tommy, can you share that direct through Loxo, taking that profile and throwing it through to, or do you have to save as and then come out? Because
how do I do this?
No. So like you can do that, create that. Is there any way to take that document straight through to a contact within Loxo without saving as, and then
You have to print it. They haven't figured that out yet. So you have to print it and save the PDF.
Yeah, so you got to come out. You can't just kind of flip it over to a contact because that would be a game changer. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that people have said to do that you're going to be able to do. I'm assuming eventually, where when you hit the branded resume, you'll be able to save it right within the resume section. Because you're right, it doesn't make sense that I can't hit this and then just email it. That doesn't make sense. They make a great branded resume for us, but we should be able to go to here. Right? Or no, here, where submit client, wherever submit client is. Oops, sorry. We should be able to.
Well, you can do it through share candidate. You click the share thing.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
You do formal submission, and then you associate it to whatever job that you have in Loxo, and then from there you can send it to the contact.
Nice.
Or you should be able to.
Oh, so this is going to show them that branded resume, isn't it?
I'm not sure if it shows the branded resume.
That's what it looks
or whatever
like.
You have. Yeah, I haven't never done it, but
I've never done it either, because formal submission is that, and quick share is. What's the difference? Formal submission. This is not working.
Exactly.
They're not working because formal submission is this. So if I submit this candidate, that's what happens. That's a formal submission. So
and which resume is it going to show? Let's say it just has let's say it has both the LinkedIn PDF as well as the.
You get to choose. So if I submit her right now, okay, I can choose which resume. If she has another resume, it'll all the documents will show here. Any document associated with a candidate will show there. Even if you put over here where you can do attachments, right? So then now if I go to submit her, I can pick this one or that one or both. So yeah, so any documents, no matter where they are, whether they're attached as a resume or they're in the documents section, you can attach them to an email when you submit to your client.
Hey, quick question about SMS. I have backed off from, I was really rocking the text messages, but I'm still unclear as to if I'm going to be
I
on
don't
the
know
naughty.
what the frick happened with that, because all of a sudden I was looking at candidate profiles and they were getting text messages from Loxo that didn't come from us, saying thank you for opting in. Did anybody notice that?
I haven't sent any SMS for like a couple of weeks because I don't
Let me
want
show
to
you
be.
what I'm talking, if I can find it. Activity. So I saw this the other day and I wasn't sure. It was an email from Loxo. It was not from us. And it was on one, I don't remember what job it was on. It might have been one that Mike was working on. Let me think. Is it this one?
Go to your SMS log.
Thank you. That's where I said. There we go. It was Melanie uses the hell out of it. And it was a really weird sent by Melanie. I thought it said sent by Loxo.
Just do a Control F and run a Loxo search.
I don't. Maybe they didn't save. But I saw a bunch of text messages, a couple like last week, that I forgot to ask about, that showed like thank you for agreeing to take text messages or whatever. And I don't know. It was older ones too. It wasn't the ones that Melanie was sending. That was the thing that was weird. It was much older. Like people we sent text messages. Oh, maybe it was the Kirby job that we were sending text messages to, and it looked like Loxo sent them messages and telling them thank you for. I can't find. I'm not gonna waste time on that. But yeah, it was weird because I saw these text messages and I was like, what the hell is this? And it said, thank you for subscribing or thank you for opting in or something like that. So you guys might want to check that on some of your people you've sent SMSs to, because I was really shocked.
Maybe the person selected checked that they're opting into receiving text messages, and that's why they got that from Loxo. I don't know.
But I think it just, when you get the text message from Loxo, doesn't it just say,
it used to say Loxo bot. It doesn't do that anymore. So I don't know. I haven't sent any text messages out in about a month.
Oh yeah, it doesn't say it anymore. It doesn't say. Oh, there it is. Yeah, reply stop to unsubscribe. Right. So the reply stopped unsubscribe, and we can see the ones that were like, here, this is it. There we go. Finally found one. Thanks for opting in and allowing us to send you messages. It got sent to these 4 people. Okay. And I don't know why. And then right after that, there was another one. So they sent Ryan Lee 2 messages on the same day. See, look at this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Thank for contacting Donan. We'll be with you momentarily. But that was from Brian. These are from Brian Lee to Loxo. So I don't know what that is.
Is there a possibility it could be what happened? Bad analogy, Tommy, but is how to say it. So on Indeed, if you click apply for the job and it goes to McCarthy, and you apply for the job at McCarthy, Indeed is still sitting in between that transaction, and they suck up a copy of your resume. Now, it is heavily redacted because no one's given full permission, but could it be a situation where you're using the SMS, Loxo's SMS, but Loxo still stays in between that transaction and something buggy is now happening with it?
What I think happened is all these people are at Donan. I think she texted them, and for whatever reason, they replied. I just realized that this is Brian Lee replying to, thanks for allowing us, and then thanks for contacting Donan. We'll be with you momentarily. These are received messages coming from these people.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. It does look like it's a little buggy.
I think that's on their end. Right? This guy here is not at Donan. He replied, stop. Right? So what do these guys do? They all replied, stop. Okay. So that was just because that's something to do with Donan. Okay. That had nothing to do with us. Never mind on that one then. Okay. So back to the settings area. So we know about email, calendar, phone, profile. Does anybody know what Teams is? I made a team just to mess around. What does Teams do? Tom, do you know?
It's Zoom on steroids.
It is?
It's
within Loxo?
No, this is
Does anybody know what
Teams?
Teams
Oh, sorry.
means within
Yeah, this is
Loxo?
Teams within Loxo. We played around with it a couple years ago, Tom, and I never really found any
Okay.
really usefulness from it.
Now, aside from forms, there's templates. You were talking about how you have email templates, right? So there are templates there's 4 different templates. So you can send SMS templates that you can use. Notes, if you want to have a plate inside interview, like in the notes section, you can have templates for notes, and then obviously campaign templates, right? And then these are the email templates. And Tom was talking about, he has one where if a candidate applies, he drops them into the applied workflow, and they automatically get an email from him. And he made this email in the template section. So I have one called rejection email. If I get somebody who applies and they aren't good, I will drop them in, depending on the search, either into rejection or send them this rejection email. And what it does, it says their first name, and then it sends them the job link. Like, thank you for applying to Project Manager Chicago. We'll contact you if you move forward. Where Tom has one that he sends out that they get with a link to fill out the form if he thinks they're viable. So you can make, I have a template that I send to candidates about my clients, all the pertinent information, how old they are, all their their benefits, all that stuff. So when they're in the search and they get moved to submitted to client, they automatically get that email with all that pertinent information about the client, their benefits package, all that stuff. And I'll never have to think about it. I call it my propaganda email. So you can set up emails to go out in anywhere within the workflow, right? It can go out if someone gets added to any of the workflows. Doesn't matter. Just got to be careful, because you could be rejecting candidates that never applied and they're getting rejection emails. I made that mistake. So you got to be careful there. The beta features, LinkedIn automation, that's so you can send you can send a LinkedIn message to them, right? In the campaign.
Yeah,
Or
campaigns, correct.
Yeah. And then I don't know what email 2.0 is. Oh, that's the thing, the pop-up thing. And then reports, I have the new reports, and the beta feature for hiding candidates. That's within Loxo source. You can hide candidates that you don't want to see when you're doing searches. Does everybody know about that in Loxo source?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then our careers page. I customized our careers page. I didn't know you do that. I made it different colors to kind of match my website. And I'm not really good at HTML, but I was able to stick HTML at the bottom as well. So when they get this, and I got rid of, I don't know about you guys, I got rid of the dates. So people didn't see if a search had been open for a month or whatever. So I got rid of all the dates. So all I show is the industry it's in, sales, marketing, bridge, transportation, the city it's in, and then the position title. And you can copy the embedded code if you want to put that onto your website without having just a link.
Oh, so you don't have to use like Bitly.
Yeah.
Tom, go back to the job, one of those jobs, and click on them, if you would.
This one?
Yeah, go back into your job. Yeah, click on one of those positions.
Oh, hold on. I gotta show you. I gotta do it from a different place. That's the customization.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got to go to your jobs listing page. I like the layout they did now where you can share, like if you want to post it to your LinkedIn feed,
here?
you want to share it to
Yeah.
your Facebook page, you want to send it as a link, or you want to send it through an email. Makes it a lot easier without having to go out to your LinkedIn account and do a copy paste.
I can send it right to Facebook. I can send it right to LinkedIn. If I had Twitter, I could send it right to Twitter, and I can email it to a friend right from there. I'd be interested in this. I wonder if Loxo opens it up. They didn't. The email one's broke. See that?
I haven't tried to send it through an email.
The email is broke. The email's broke. I wonder if it works here. Nope.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah. But anyway, it's a great way to share job leads. I mean, jobs when you want to get them posted out to social media. Makes it a lot easier.
Okay, so that was what was that? That was references. We were on where were we? We were on teams, templates, beta features, career page, compliance. I don't know what that means. I don't care. Custom validations. That's just custom validations. Isn't that just to make sure you have to have a name before you put a person in, right? You cannot.
Well, no, you have it marked as required. You can select however you want here.
Yeah, but if you're creating a person within Loxo, you have to at least put a name in mine. Some people require more, but mine just requires a name. And the same with the jobs, the requirements, a title. And I think that's it, right? Data enrichment, we all know what that is. You can have to get rid of the catch-all ones, right? So you can kind of change the emails there. And then this is the thing we talked about before, where they're supposed to be updating your candidates within your CRM or within your database as people change jobs. I haven't seen it, but Ernie said he called and they said, and I think he called too, and said that 500 people have been updated or something.
500 in Ernie's database or your database or in the
Tom
universe?
or Ernie, didn't one of you guys call and ask if anybody had been updated?
I exchanged emails with their chief architect, Ilya, and he actually sent me because I was questioning what's being updated, if it's being updated, and how do I know it's being updated? And again, it's still in beta, but he did send me an Excel spreadsheet with a list of the candidates that had information updated. And I want to say it was well over 2,000 records. But again, it doesn't say what's been updated, what field's been updated.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one thing. We have no idea. Does everybody know about this? That you can email resumes right into your database, that you don't have to parse them. You don't have to use the Loxo extension. If someone sends you a resume, you can just forward the resume right to this email and it'll automatically make a person in there. Does everybody know that? I hope everybody knows that. Anybody watching this knows that, right? And then the other ways that you can change your fonts and all that, but you know that you can also, if you're in a job, you can drag and drop a candidate into, like, if you were working on this job and you got a guy who was really good, You can drag a resume onto this screen and it'll create a person and then create them in the workflow. Does everybody know that? Okay.
Yeah.
So drag and drop, Loxo extension in this one, roles. I have candidates, contacts, recruiter, headhunters, and source. And this is a built-in one. Sources, we can customize that. Statuses. This is my job statuses. So I have limbo, active, filled, on hold, and inactive, right? And you can set up job statuses however you want. My default's active, right? So I have active jobs. If for whatever reason I fill it, it gets filled or hired, right? If it gets put on hold, I go to on hold, inactive, and then limbo if like I think it's a company I want to redo something with. Same with people. And those are those things at the top of the Loxo cards that I never use. And I think you were telling me you guys use them. But these things here are these things up here in the all your people, right? So I've
Yeah,
got
that's the
things 24
global. That's the global status.
Yeah, and I never understood how the global status worked. And then for companies, we did this to try and create a workflow. So within the company section, you can figure out if you have an open search with them, if they're a source company, if they're a client company, so other recruiters don't call them. If you're currently trying to contact them or marketing towards them, that's how we have our job flows, our job status is set up. And then tags, I went crazy by accident on tags, so I have so many tags, I can't use them. But, and I don't know how to delete, I should probably ask them to delete all my tags because I made the mistake of using SalesQL and putting skills as tags, right? And it created so many, like ADA ramps, ADA compliance, ADA guidelines, like, oh my God. So I got it. I have, look how many tags. I have so many tags. It's insane.
Just delete them on the right-hand side there. See the little red bucket?
Yeah, but I have like 4,000. I kid you not.
Just
So,
just delete them all, start over.
how do you delete it? You can't delete all. There's no way to delete all.
There's no, okay.
And I have types of search that we work on, contingent, engaged, and project searches. So when you're creating a job, you can choose what type of search you want. The type of companies we work with, I make company types, right? And then reasons you reject, right? And if you write something in and hit enter, it makes it for them. Like he's a dick and job board loser. I didn't know it created those. Wait, where's the pants? I was like typing that in there. I didn't know it created the thing. And then emails, that's your types in your card. So the work email and personal is what Loxo put in there. And then we added alternate, main, home, other, and corporate, right? And then the same with phones. There's work and cell phone. We added mobile cell. I don't know why. Main, alternate, direct, corporate, direct, fax. And then addresses is main, alternate, and then billing. And then we already did workflow setup. I don't mess around with the payment methods and receipt. That's all for us personal. So that's the customization stuff that we can do. And then I showed you guys that looking at the email thing that I did. Is there any other tips that maybe anybody wants to bring up the thing we don't know about?
So go back to companies. There's a last contacted field, but do we need to populate that ourselves?
Tom
What do you
Bird
mean?
referenced that before.
So if you go to company, you start
I'm in companies.
view, and all the way on the right,
Like take your slider.
take your slider at the bottom. So you have the option. So go up to settings, settings, scroll down to the bottom. Oh, so you've got create date where I've got last contacted. So maybe you can add that. So go down to add.
And
Last contacted and date, but we got to manually do that, which is a bit of a pain. But you can show in record and you can show in deals. So you can activate that. So, because that's one of the things my team is kind of complaining about. There's no way to sort last contact
Okay.
when they're doing
Last
BD.
contacted.
So
my thing to that would be, you can, if I'm calling this company Yawa, I'm going to click on her and see when she was last contacted. Not so much the company, the person, right?
yeah, so that might be okay if you've got all your clients in a list. Can you search by that?
I don't know what you mean.
So I want to be able to say each of our account managers, I want to have 200 clients, they're qualified, and them to know when they were last contacted. Where
Yeah,
like,
you
if
should be able to, if you have that field created like you do, Cal, you should be able to go into the company grid there, go to that field last contacted and search by date.
yeah, but
He's saying he has to manually put it in. So if someone calls, but you don't, here's the thing, Kale, you don't call the company, you call a person. So I wouldn't even know how Loxo could set that up. Does that mean every time you call somebody at Yawa, for example, then that's when it becomes last contacted? I understand what you're trying to do. And that is a failing in Loxo's business development module. That doesn't exist. I completely understand what you're saying. So I would be more like, if I was going to call, let's say that this was my I'm going to add this to a list and call this list business development, right? So then show me this list, right? So here's the list of these people, and then I'm going through and I'm calling each person. If you had this called business development, Kale, oil and gas, Manitoba, right? The person could come on to this, instead of looking at this, they could just click here and see when she was last contacted versus the actual company was last contacted, because there's no way to really, you can actually see all the notes here. You would actually see if she was contacted. You could search an event like email. Let me see if that works. Yeah. So I can see all the emails that were sent within this company. You could see, like, if I had called somebody within this, you could see who was called. So you could do it that way by having lists, business development lists within company section, right? So you have 800 companies, you have them in a list called Kale Oil. And then you tell one of your recruiters, hey, go into Kale Oil, see who hasn't been contacted yet. And then they would just open this up and see what the history was. Does that make sense?
yeah, it's just
It's not ideal.
Yeah,
It's not ideal, but I understand what you're trying to say. I don't know if there's a way to. What are the things here, right? Can we do that? What else is there?
Tom, select. I don't see where you have jobs. Where do you have the job? No, don't go into jobs. Go in your company, the company grid there. Now you should be able to see them. You should be able to see them from the list view. Get out of that for a second and stay in there, but scroll all the way to the right. Do you have jobs as a column header? Go all the way to the right.
No.
All right. You want to add,
right here.
there it is.
Right here.
Yeah. So if you click on those, that'll bring you to any jobs you've had with that company. We have that as our first field right after the company name. So anybody that
I like
can
that.
see.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the history of what jobs you've had with that company. So if you had an opening a year ago for the same skill set, rather than going into the jobs module and trying to find it that way, you can go and just click right there and then filter it.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because I often will do that, going, I know I worked on a job like that. And then, like if one of these company calls me, I can click on it and go, oh yeah. And then I used to have to go and search the jobs, inactive, right? And do all that stuff. This I like better.
Yeah, I added industry types as another field, and then I added technology that they use, because we do IT. So I put the technology, the software, whatever type of technology, which I find very helpful.
Does anybody know how to make a task for another person in your team so it goes on their calendar?
Yeah.
That used to work, and it doesn't work anymore for me. Can anybody walk me through that?
I haven't done one of those in a long time.
Because Sage used to, what she does now is she just sets up a calendar invite for me. But she used to, if like she talked to Samantha and Samantha like, yeah, I'll talk to Tom. She would click on tasks, create a task, and then somehow, I don't know where it is, add me into the task.
Right.
And it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't show up on my calendar at all.
No,
So we had to go the other way.
You go into the schedule. What? No, go do that again. Go to that task again. Okay, set up the task. And then you put your name at the bottom. Now go up to time.
Well, so this is what it used to do.
Okay.
I used to be able to click her name, but it doesn't show up on her calendar anymore. That's the only thing.
Well, but no. So back out of that one.
Okay.
No, right there. Hit the time. Right down the bottom.
Here?
Yeah, right there. And you put the time that you want to set it up for.
Okay.
So you got it for, and then you put the date. The date's the 14th, and then you hit
Okay.
save.
No, but
Well,
I
he's,
want.
yeah,
I
but
want
he's trying to
this pop up-
associate it. Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want this to pop up on another recruiter's. Like I want if like I talk to Samantha and say, Samantha, can you talk to Sage tomorrow at 2:00? Yes, I can. I want to be able to create a task for Sage.
Right. So if you do that, Sage works for you or doesn't work for you?
Works for me.
Okay. So if she's in LinkedIn, right? You put those dates, her name, and you click it, and it'll show up in your Google Calendar.
It'll show up on I want it to show up on her calendar. That's where it
It'll
runs
show
into.
up on her calendar.
No, it doesn't anymore. I don't know if I did something wrong or what happened, but it used to be that she could create tasks for me, not even for herself, just for me. And it went away, and I sent them messages, and they were looking into it, and then I forgot about it.
So the other thing you can do is like, what about the schedule?
Well, isn't there is it tasks?
Or you can look at that, right? First you can ask her, did it show up on your screen? If she has Loxo, it'll show up. But the other thing you can do is once you have it on Google, you go into Google, you add it as an event, and you have her on. It's an extra step, but it's also another way of doing it.
So tasks doesn't have that anymore. Like there used to be a place where you could like give someone access to your stuff, right? Is that maybe that's what it was?
Hey, is Mike no longer working for you?
No, he went to go work for Whole Foods. He had a 6-month contract. Yeah, I don't know. That was really cool. And now she just sends, Ernie, she just sends me calendar invites. So that's how we do it now. But it was just a pain in the ass that it stopped doing that because I was missing all these appointments.
Did it show up on your task list?
Yeah, so it does, right? So where's tasks? Tasks, right? So it does, right? And this will, if I make the task, it will go into my calendar. Maybe here. Let me see here.
Yeah.
Customize stages. See, I even changed it. Look, read, write, admin. And not started, done, add stage, make default task board, right? I did all that, and it still doesn't go to my calendar. And I don't know why.
It doesn't go to your calendar?
I mean, when she makes it, it doesn't go to my calendar.
Does she have that same thing though?
Yeah, she has access to the same stuff. And maybe I'll try again tomorrow. But that was always a big pain in the ass because it stopped working. That was a good thing for us when she was recruiting, and they'd be like, oh, I want more information. Well, let me set you up with Tom. he can take care of it for you. And then I just see my calendar. All of a sudden, these tasks would be popping up in my calendar. And then now they don't do that anymore.
I want to say something right now. I'm looking at the names on here, and I'm thinking, shit, this is a shitload of talent. This is a dream.
Oh, me, you, Steve, and Tom, Kale.
Yeah, I mean, they're guys that know what they're talking about.
But if you're assigning a calendar item, then it'll go in your calendar. But task, I don't think it syncs with Google Tasks, right?
Well, it syncs with my calendar. So if I go to, let me go here to people, and we'll keep beat on Samantha, right? So I go to tasks right now, and this is just for me, right? If I create
try clicking on the calendar item. You're on the task item.
Yeah, well, that's different.
Okay.
That's a meeting. So okay, let's see what that happens. Okay, so I hit save, right? So now tasks for Samantha, right? Now if I go over to my Outlook. There we go. So look at this, right? So it creates, oops.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Right there it is, task for Samantha, right? So it created that task within my Google, my Outlook calendar. So tomorrow at 2:00, I'm going to get a little ding that says call her, right? Yeah. That's what Sage used to do for me. She used to be able to do that working through her workflow. She would just create a task, but she would choose my name as the person for the task, and then it would go to my calendar.
Yeah.
Do you use the Loxo calendar, or do you use the Google calendar?
I use Outlook calendar.
Outlook calendar. That's what you.
Yeah. So like if they're synced, so it doesn't matter to me, right? So if I schedule a meeting with her,
do you want me to show me to show you my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Please.
Let me hold on. Let me I gotta find. Oops, no, stop it! God damn it! As I moved around some stuff.
Steve, you going fly fishing? What are you doing? Are you paying attention?
No, I have 8,000 tabs open.
No, I was talking to Steve. He went fly fishing for a second.
Oh.
All right. So I think you're just missing a setting here. So I got my task, and then I can choose who to assign it to.
And will Kara get a task put in her calendar?
So I need to go into my settings, probably somewhere to have that. But yes.
Okay.
Right? Because remember, I don't do anything at my company, so I better assign this to somebody to get something done. Right? So
okay.
But the problem is I don't see everybody there. So let's go out and let's go back to settings. And
you wouldn't do it there. You go to the tasks on the left-hand side of your board. Left-hand side of your board.
Yeah.
Go to tasks. Now go to settings there. Customize stages. And then
add user.
Yeah. So if you added Chris, he can read, write, and
she already
be
is
an admin on your task board, right?
Yeah.
So that, I'm assuming, is how that would work, right?
Yeah.
And then they would have to do the same thing on their end for their task board, I'm assuming. And
no, I should be able to just assign something to Chris now since I'm an admin. Push it on there.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'll go back to this candidate, and I'm going to be like, Tyler, let's
look at your fucking card. Job title, owner, source, education, category, sourced on for, personalization, employment preference, custom field 2. Wow.
Yeah. But now for some reason I can't see her. So I think we need to figure out how to adjust the task field, because it's still only showing Kara.
And you just added the other ones, right?
I just added Chris because
Kara's
actually left. So
why don't you hit the refresh
up here?
It should have went when you saved it. It should
Up
have
on the
saved.
very top, hit the refresh. And then go back to it.
Where are you finding? Oh, I didn't know you could do tasks from there.
Yeah, you've got
Interesting.
tasks in a different, mine's way on the right-hand side.
Yeah, but actually, I just clicked on schedule. If you click on schedule, Steve, task is in there too.
Huh.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Hmm.
Yeah, so there's something we're gonna have to. I don't know if intercom's working again.
Huh, interesting.
Okay, so we went over a lot today, I think. Is there anything else that, as I have to go get hay. So is there anything else that,
Well, I still have the
People-
question about the texting. Tom Byrne, you say you're not sending texts. Kale, are you sending texts? And Tommy, what are you doing about texts? I'm just,
look at that, look at
You
his
got it on your
workflow.
trouble.
Look at that workflow. Pre-screen, client submission, interview, reference check, offer extended, offer withdrawn, rejected by client, place, start, post placement. God dang, dude. I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
no, I'm just,
No, are you talking about text?
yeah, I'm just.
I text from my
I'm still
iPhone.
Kind of in limbo here. I was doing very well on text, getting great responses from candidates on information I was sending to give me a call or whatever. But now I'm a little bit,
What are they going through?
huh?
Are they going through?
I'm
Go
not
to-
sending any text anymore because of all those messages that we got from Loxo saying, we've got to get you set up so that, Tommy
Yeah.
knows more about this than I'll ever know.
So here's the thing. We all had